by labor. This pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and Ministerial. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists down, hard life crippling, we a collective menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, Yannick get liar. He really a pamper playing Labour third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, social club in disguise, or some kind of criminal enterprise. What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and Ministerial. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists down, hard life crippling, we a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, Yannick get liar. He really a pamper playing Labour third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under Labour life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under Labour life for this pure misery.
A pleasant evening to everyone. We are here on another exciting episode of Unfiltered. I am your host, AZARD GUMBS, Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, Attorney at Law. This evening, before we start, I'd like to recognize and acknowledge all women. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and we do recognize the contribution of women to politics, to society, to nation building. It has been a long fought battle in terms of ensuring that women are players at the table. Of course, there are still more glass ceilings to be broken, and we as men support our women to do just that, break ceilings and achieve what is possible out there. And so I want to say a pleasant evening to the ladies in particular. And of course, gentlemen, I think you're no stranger to the program. You have been here numerous times. I like to say the Flanders brothers, because both of you are brothers. Both of you have appeared on Unfiltered on numerous occasions. And we do have something to discuss this evening. Last week, the Labour administration held its press conference, and as a result, they gave us much room for thoughts. They came and they discussed to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis a number of things. And I want to say that I believe that the Labour administration, that party, that the members of cabinet, that they are losing their minds. They are really losing it at this point in time. What did you think about the press conference?
All right, good evening, Radio Land, and all those watching on the social medias. All right, my name is Kyle Flanders, as Mr. Gums said. And yes, as you alluded to, the press conference last week, let's just say, we know why they were so scarce. We know why there wasn't any press conferences like this in a long time. Because there wasn't much to say. There wasn't much to do about nothing. And so at the end of the day, at the end of the press conference, I felt basically hopeless. Right? I felt hopeless. It wasn't one that was filled with anything to rejuvenate, anything about what's going on in the country, in the economy, in St. Kitts on a whole. It just felt depressing at the end of it all to realize, well, that's all. What's next? There has to be a part two.
Yes. Troy, what was your feeling as it relates to the press conference held by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party?
And good night to all listening. AZARD, once again, thanks for the invitation. And like you, I also like to salute all the females out there. And a big shout out to our political leader. As you're speaking about glass ceilings, so hoping that our political leader could break the ceiling and become the first female prime minister, right? But as you talk about the Labour Party conference, I mean, I wasn't expecting anything from Labour, so the nothing press conference, it did live up to that expectation. Nothing.
Indeed. I say, after listening to that press conference, that the people got nothing. And I have to ask the question, from that press conference, who do you think were the biggest losers coming out of that press conference?
Well, collectively, we could all say that the people of St. Kitts were the biggest losers coming out of that particular press conference. Because, like I said before, if you were looking for something that you could say, okay, there's some kind of silver lining after this dark cloud that we're under right now, it's coming. We didn't see that. We didn't get that out of this press conference. It just left us, it was weighed and measured and been found wanting. So the St. Kitts people, hold strong, help is coming.
Indeed, I do agree with the sentiment that you have expressed. It has been very sad news for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. You thought that they came together, and we know that they don't normally come together. In fact, recently, the Prime Minister has been having his conferences with the media, and there's not a minister in sight.
That's a good
One
point.
would have thought that when the ministers appeared, that there would have been something of substance. But it might as well the Prime Minister was there by himself. Because all his ministers did was to assure the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that nothing is happening with this administration, nothing is being planned, and they have nothing to look forward towards the coming years under a Labour administration.
So you're saying that the ministers then was barely just like props.
Props.
Yeah.
You heard the press
Usual photo
secretary said the questions can be asked. The Prime Minister will then filter to the relevant ministers. And that he did. And I want to say, coming out of that press conference, we know that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis were the biggest losers. But the minister that had egg on his face clearly was, most of all, the Honourable Samuel Douglas. Of
Right.
all of them. Of course, all of them show that they have nothing and they've brought nothing to the table. But Samuel Douglas, I think, was the biggest loser of them all when he came to the ministers.
Yes,
Seated at
for
the
sure,
table.
for sure, because you realize that a lot of the questions that the press asks, that's what's on their mind. And it was directed at agriculture, at sports, small business. And there was no positive answers for anything that that were asked. It was all excuses, and then as we look at later on, it was sad. 'Cause you could even see he normally got this, this bravado about him, but you could even see he was just sunk back in his suit and just like, rain and so yeah, he came off as the worst.
In fact,
Yeah.
when it comes to sports, he received a F. When
For
it
sure.
comes to agriculture, he receives an F.
Double F.
And when it comes to small business, perhaps a triple F.
For sure.
And I saw and I heard him. He spoke about. They asked him about the Kim Collins Stadium, and there is the minister thinking that we are from another country, because the way in which he answered that question, saying that the delay of the construction and completion of the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium was due to rain that had been happening for months. I believe that the minister has confused St. Kitts and Nevis with another country in which he has traveled over the time. Because St. Kitts and Nevis, he will make you believe, had been greeted with thunderstorms, rainstorms, hurricanes. In fact, today was pretty hot. And we do have some days where there are scattered rainfall, but that is not the majority. And so the minister cannot blame acts of God, cannot say that it is the rain and nature that has stopped him from completing what he has said that he was going to do months, perhaps years ago.
I really can't believe he gave that elementary response for real. Like when you're in primary school, that's the kind of thing you want to use, for an excuse. You've been in office. They've been
my homework. That was my whole kind of answer.
Right? You've been in office for 2 years. You tell me rain fell consecutively from the time y'all entered up to now, rain every day. They can't get no work in. That's what you're telling me?
But it was a year ago. They had the meets at Nevis, right?
Yes. And I can recall making a statement about that very meet, because it's an annual thing, Troy.
Yeah.
We all know that when the sports is going to come up, there's no unpredictability. It's the most predictable thing.
Yeah, man.
And so the minister will have known when sports was coming up, since even before arriving in the seat of minister, he became the minister. Since last year, he knew the track was not completed. When he gave the late notice, having people move left, right, and center to shift their plans last minute, putting the strain on the shareholders, stakeholders.
But AZARD, I could recall you did something talking about the Kim Collins and the state which he was in. And it wasn't raining that time.
It wasn't. And in fact, just last year, Troy, I'm glad you brought that back to memory when I started the program Unfiltered. The track and field stadium was still under repairs.
It was.
And it was at a time that the minister could have done what was necessary. There was no rain there.
It wasn't raining.
It wasn't raining.
But it's obvious to see that the minister does not enjoy the support of his colleagues. They want him look bad. He's not a comrade.
Apart from that, though, you could tell where his interest lies. It's not in sports. Because the reality is, it is so sad how he would know. Right? How sport.
I don't even know if he knows where his interest lies.
I don't know. Maybe the 13 one. But how sport has regressed.
He's definitely there for the walk up. Not really there for the walk.
That's for sure. How sport has regressed under this minister. You're talking about.
We have a call. I'm told that we have a call. You're live on Unfiltered. Cannot hear.
Hello?
Yes.
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, this is Rusty Library here. I hope I don't make the trash people headlines this week, but I just want to mention something about the track and field stuff that you guys are talking about. I go to school in Taiwan here on a street called Shiher, and there's a high school close by. And from June, when it closes, they remove the track and field, they remove the basketball court, they remove the volleyball court, and by September, everything was back down, clean, ready to run out. And if you know about Taiwan, there's rain every time of the day, almost every time of the day. If you know about Taiwan, when you're going to school or leaving your house, you walk with an umbrella. You must have an umbrella on you because it rains constantly. So I don't know what this man was talking about rain, unless it was flooding, unless there was some kind of hurricane. I don't know, but this guy fooling us, telling us nonsense about rain, and it's for years. Because I heard the sports had to be moved from St. Kitts Nevis. They had to be years. You want to tell me rain come every day? And they couldn't, and so powerful that they couldn't have found a reason to put down the track. These guys are not there to help St. Kitts. They're there to help the pocket. I hope the boy for the newspaper listening to me, I would write that Rusty said. I'm a journalist, so I know the yellow paper he got. Yeah, and exciting all people. But the people who are in government right now, they're just there to look after themselves. And when they remember there is agriculture, there is sports, there is business, there is that, then they come on the air and they chat nonsense. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks for the call, Azad.
No problem. Thank you, Rusty, for your contribution.
So as I was saying, there's no denying it. They not care to twist it and turn it. Sports has regressed under this current Labour administration. Imagine they went from a world-class stadium for sports to back to the old high school, the old Basti High School grounds. We're back and running on grass again. So any records or anything, look here, I love track and field. I was housemaster when I was in teaching for a lot of years. I love the track and field. And to see certain generations that normally some people may peak in high school, but to see some children had to go out of high school, not being able to show what they are made of. Understand, we came out of COVID, so already we had a pause on sports. To come to this now, to where sports have been driven to the back, it is hard, it is hurting the people. Look at when last you had a cheerleading competition, when last you had certain series, when last you had development meets. If our athletes are to be stars on the international scene, we need to give them the best. Just missing 1 year can be detrimental in the development of an athlete. And these people don't understand how important it is and how important inter-school is for our economy. Like everything filters.
I mean, Mr. Duggins has to be the slowest of them all because he has been given a task in which he knows exactly when the sports term is going to be. It's not a situation that he's given a surprise or alarm or something that has not been set in stone in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so if he drops the ball on things that are predictable, what can we expect of him when there's a changing environment where we don't know what is going to happen next? And so I have to say that perhaps he's the slowest of them all, and that is the reason why he keeps getting predictable assignments for predictable times
And get F.
and still getting an F.
I mean, sport is calendared, right? The calendar, boom.
As a simple say again, I mean, the guy got to blame something and could think of the rain, after and the rain.
Well, you heard his answer. We spoke about perhaps some months ago when he talked about when the person asked him the question, how are you as Minister of Agriculture going to succeed when other ministers have failed? And he gave a very, you go to those shows, those pageants, and you know that the person received a question like that before. They're propping themselves and they still make a mess of things. Because he talk about God's work. And it's like everything is God's work.
It was so convoluted, yes.
And at the end of the day, you realize that he has said nothing.
Just a word salad.
I don't know what happens in cabinet, but his fellow colleagues must be shivering when he speaks.
You got too much work, man.
They watch it with frown.
Because it's a simple thing you're messing up. You're making us look bad. You're making us look bad.
You know, if you study the American politics, right? You know, they had a guy they called Herschel Walker. Right? He was running in
he used to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
But running back.
And you know, if you know the history of Herschel Walker and in the politics, that's somehow there. You fit a square peg in a round hole. Yeah.
And the sad thing is that while they give him the simplest of assignments to complete, he misses the mark, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis suffer because we have persons who are diehards when it comes to sports, and they can't enjoy it to the way in which they used to enjoy it.
Yeah, they don't understand. They don't get it. They don't get it for real.
But at the end of the day, still he get a raise a salary.
Yes.
For non-performance.
For non-performance, and all of them have received increases for doing nothing.
My goodness, you don't get the raise, man. Work for the money where you get it now. You don't get it. You don't win with the party.
And all they come with their clothes that they have bought with their increases over the heads of the average individual, nicely dressed. Sometimes they have on the African wear or some other wear. You wonder who is their stylist. And then they come and present nothing to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Man say rain by rain.
He comes and talk about rain.
But you see, I mean, there's hope on the horizon, eh? In couple short years, the people will also given a choice. And are they going to reward Labour and Samal for doing nothing? That's a question now you have to ask the people.
In fact, if that even happens again, they might reward themselves with another increase, having been successful in fooling the people of St. Kitts and Nevis not once but twice, and so thought best that they need, being magicians, increase their salary again.
But gosh, man, we don't want to happen somewhere, but even agriculture. What they're asking about agriculture, right? They're asking about the 25 by 25.
I think he's the slowest because all of us here before spoke about the 25 by 25 agenda. We said that that was dead on arrival. We gave Mr. Duggins, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, an opportunity to agree with us, to roll and come again, go back to the drawing board. He kept promoting the 25 by 25 agenda, and then comes on Thursday and says what?
Tourism gone up, so therefore imports got to go up. He said, oh, we started two years late. He said, oh, well, CARICOM changed the date too, so, oh, production up. But wasn't the 25 by 25 all about reducing imports? Look, that's one of the reasons why I was silent in the agriculture ministry, right? Because I was one who told them not to approach it this way. This is not the way to approach it 25 by 25. Yes, we are late. Let's take our time, get a proper plan in place, and move beyond that. You wait till now to realize that it cannot be done in 3 years.
But as we said before, he gets the predictable assignments, drops the ball, and so when it is that there is no certainty in what is going to happen, he cannot perform. He continues to show us that he lacks the innovation, the drive necessary to adapt to changing circumstances. He takes assignments that he has seen regionally, try to fit it locally, and then after everyone else has seen that's not going to work, he waits until it messes up to say that he can't do it.
I might sound like kind of Samuel defense, but everybody say 24 by 24, dead and available, AZARD. And you're telling me now, just this week this man reach the finishing line to come to say dead? You say slow. Yes, look at it seriously. I mean, I had to laugh, I was a cry. This is a serious issue, Millions of dollars, people's money was spent.
Samuel is losing it, clearly. The Labour Party is losing it.
Of people's money was spent to come to the people. When was the press conference? Thursday, Gandhi?
Thursday.
To tell the people now that you fail.
Imagine having to endure a almost 3 hour long press conference of nothing. Just word salads and rambling.
So you think that's why the Prime Minister hijacked the Tabasco project?
You know, he hijacked it?
Well, it seems so. Guy, he was the one pushing it.
In fact, he spoke more than the Minister of Agriculture about the Tabasco project.
So he had to remind him, tell him about the Tabasco project.
So who ministry under? Who ministry really come under? Maybe it's a question we need to ask.
Maybe it's a question one would assume that he comes under the Honorable Samuel Duggins'
you might
ministry.
Assume that, but maybe the reality is not him.
Maybe you think that the Prime Minister thinks that he's going to drop the ball yet again?
Because the Prime Minister gave us the detail. Prime Minister says 3 workers per acre and all kind of in-depth. The Prime Minister?
Say that again, we're getting another call. Call, you're live on Unfiltered. We lost that caller. Caller, you're live?
Yes, me again, on the same agriculture point that y'all are talking about. Recently, I read that I'm still here.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, cool. I read recently about Trump telling the Caribbean that they need to break a relationship with China and so on, right? Then what we need to understand, we need to start growing our own food. Because if Trump is going to punish us like that, what are we going to do? And there's some people who are so silly in my country talking about, let's pull away from the Commonwealth, But who are you going to run to? We have, 200 people up in the army? They can't do a thing. They just have bullets. That's all they got. So what do we need to protect ourselves? How do we need to protect ourselves? The OECS and the Tarifester and Commonwealth need to come together so we can figure out how we're going to live this next 4 years. And if you can't get food from the U.S., or more expensive from Canada or wherever, We have to find something to do. Why are we not looking at our agriculture people so they can support the 50,000 people on our island, as we say? These people are not thinking about the future. They're just thinking about their pockets. Are gone.
Labour Party is clearly losing it. Samuel Duggins has clearly lost it. He never even had it.
But Azad, if you go up the Department of Agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
if you go speak to anybody up there and ask them about Tabasco project, they have nothing to say. They don't know anything. If you go down the ministry and you ask for information, it's little they know or nothing. So that's why I ask the question, which ministry is leading this project?
Let's break down the Tabasco project. Let the people understand how lost this government is and how confused they are. In one breath, the Prime Minister is saying sustainable state, sustainable state. The Prime Minister is saying food security, food security. But your actions are saying you are going to dedicate, first it was 10 acres,
Mm-hmm.
then 100 acres, now 200 acres to the production of pepper to export. So right, this is all kind of contradiction going on. Sustainability how? Food security how? We are not going to eat peppers if we are hungry. And you see, Trump is a madman right now. What if they put a tariff for the export of the Tabasco to America and the cost gone up now? So Tabasco say, well, watch here. Trump say, we can't take none from the Caribbean because of the tariffs. What are we going to do with all them 200 acres of pepper? What do you think going to happen to us? What are we going to eat?
200 acres.
That's what the Prime Minister
Yes,
said.
he said it.
That's madness.
He's losing it. In fact, he has probably lost it.
How much
Or maybe
acres-
he never
how much
had it.
acres What's set aside for the 25 by 25?
That's a good
That's a good
question.
question. Everything is a cloud of uncertainty.
You see, they talk about food safety
You see, what really
and
hurt
food security.
What really hurt me, right, is that look at this. Samuel is the Minister of Agriculture. Samuel is the Minister of Small Business. There are so many small businesses out there that engage in processing, agro-processing. I know a lady in my church, she do tea bag out of turmeric, ginger. You have Florial out there who do all kind of sauce and all kind of things. You have Mother Becky who do all kind of juices and all kind of things. And these people are asking for raw materials to help them to enhance the businesses. There was time when we were looking at the growth strategy plan, right? And this man came in and said, okay, they do cosmetics, locally made cosmetics, but it just can't find aloe vera nowhere. It's a hard time finding aloe vera. So you're telling me you're the small business minister, the agricultural minister, you cannot see a link between where you can use agriculture to help build other small businesses? He's lost. He has no vision. He cannot see further than maybe down the road.
Yes. Clearly, Honorable Samuel Duggins, he needs not to be re-elected to disappoint the people of St. Kitts and Nevis continuously. In fact, it is a serious situation because we need to ensure that our country moves forward. And then there is the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. And again,
He comes second in the losing race.
he probably was a close second in that race.
Close second.
Yes. Because here is Honorable Jeffrey Hanley speaking about what we have been talking and asking questions about for time immemorial since this project came out. 600 homes per year. Housing revolution. The best you ever seen. You understand?
Smart houses.
Smart houses. And we said, this seems to be not practical. Time passed, they moved the goalposts every time. They had opening ceremonies. They had an office opening, even if it was in name only.
Performative as usual.
The building, office had never been open, never seen it open at least. I'm sure they have never seen it open either. And so we continue to ask the question, what about these homes? And here comes Dr. Hanley, picking up the rear, saying to us that there are problems with the investor. But Dr. Hanley, we who are outside and not in cabinet realized months ago that something was going wrong. He waited until Thursday to address the people. It should have been 1,200 homes by now.
2 years in.
And you know what he came and he said? NHC built 140 homes. The most that they've done during that time. But Dr. Hanley, you promised the people of St. Kitts and Nevis by now 1,200 homes. And if you are going to do the calculation, 140 over 1,200 cannot even be more than 15% of the promise.
You've been generous, man. 11%. 11% on the test.
And so if Dr. Hanley is satisfied to come and say that he got 11% on the test, then it is sad news for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So Dr. Hanley, I would advise you not to say that you are doing well in housing, because based on what you promised the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, you have failed to keep that promise. You have failed to tell us what is happening with the East Coast sufficiently. And you were late in even giving us more questions than answers. We've been asking. We've been writing.
We are going to ask you one question. Did the government, you know anything if the government guarantee anything for East Coast? Yeah.
That is Dr. Hanley, when he said that the government hasn't lost any money, hasn't spent any money so far. Yeah. But I recall, and I could be stand corrected, that the Attorney General, during the time that persons were asking about the East Coast, he talked about trade secrets and some things cannot be revealed.
Yeah.
At this point in time, we don't see any houses. Was it a secret that no houses were going to be built? Was that he failed to tell us?
Here's the thing about this whole housing thing, right? It seems as though once they are comfortable with their house, they don't care about nobody else. They don't understand how important housing is for the development of a nation. If you have affordable housing, money can be used to spend elsewhere, right? Now, what is funny is that sometimes people ask like about the first Labour administration, what they did in terms of housing. And they would say, okay, Douglas led a housing revolution. But you would realize that that housing revolution led to what the problems we have today. Because a lot of grandchildren and children of those who received house back then, they cannot afford a house today because NHC in dire straits. You have to understand, you have to think these through. Housing is so important. Think it through. Do your due diligence. Don't just jump up and say, investor, where did it come from? Anybody do a Google search about this place, East Coast housing, you can't find nothing concrete to say they deserve to be the ones handling so much money in housing in St. Kitts.
But is this clear that this administration does not do the necessary checks and balances? The only thing they checked were their checkbooks when they increased their salary.
Check the treasury mountain.
Exactly. So you want to tell me that you are elected, you're going to boast about this revolution in housing, you're going to have opening ceremonies, groundbreaking, and after months have passed, you allowed months and months to pass, not seeing any construction other than those model homes, which perhaps, based on what we have been hearing, were not even built by the company themselves.
Exactly. Because he said not 1 cent was spent, so who built
Exactly.
the example homes?
So it makes one wonder, if it is not 1 cent was spent with that company and we have 2 model homes, who built it? And if persons other than the company built those homes, couldn't that institution build the others? Why is it now that you're looking for investors, saying investors come in?
Is that the lineup?
But the houses, they're not still smart. They're still smart.
I have no idea. Because they are talking about smart house, smart hospital. I hear about smart electricity. And all we have asked was that we get a smart government.
Oh boy, unfortunately, that's not the case. But even speaking, I miss Dr. Hanley. So that's housing. they asked him about. He was boasting about Bastille being used for sports again. I don't think that's something you should be boasting about, right? Talking about the land level, that's like they asked him about Bastille and he's saying, okay, we're gonna get to school, When?
Did they get the green light to build on the site? Did anybody come and do any tests and give them the okay to build on the site? Did they tell them it's okay to carry children to run on the site?
In fact, many sports fans, when they saw the conditions of the track, when they had some meat there, they were disappointed. Not leveled, the ground's not leveled. Disappointed. Again, this administration continues to lead in incompetence. They are leaders of incompetence. They have gotten the A for incompetence. They cannot do what they have said. They cannot deliver for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And when they have delivered or presented something that is failing, they smile, they toot their own horn, and they say it's the best that we've ever had.
It just comes down to the lack of self-awareness. Like, I know they're playing politics. I know it's a game, so you're supposed to say certain things. But you actually could say it without even, you can't just hit it even once, twice. When you hear Dr. Drew's opening paragraph when he was talking, he speaks as though all is right, all is well. He spoke about the wallet boost, the wallet boost. And the Prime Minister said that in January, 19,370 people benefited from it. In February, 20,000 benefited from it. 20,000 benefit from the wallet boost. And he said it with a smile, like it's something to be proud of. Not realizing the problems we're having, because you're saying now, the average, we can even say the average man now. We say majority of people in St. Kitts are suffering economically. So that's not something to be proud of. I don't understand why he has like a badge of honor. Because if you realize, he's saying that what was $4.8 million was spent, 5.1 million was spent in February. Now we're saying now, if things were so good in the country as they making it sound, persons would have reallocated their resources, their money, elsewhere, and you would have seen a trickle-down effect in the economy, right? Would have seen a trickle-down effect in the economy. But the fact that you are seeing people use the wallet boost to buy groceries, but they still ain't got enough money to do anything else to move them neither left nor right economically.
So there's no stimulus in the economy?
No, there's no boost in it, you could tell. So that means that people are so under the water economically that it's a problem for us going forward. And there's nothing you should be boasting about. 20,000 of our working force is on the wallet boost. That's, I mean, we have 48,000 population, including children and elderly. So if 20,000 working, almost all,
so
the middle class. What?
So you're saying the middle class? You're talking about middle class?
My name, sir.
The administration has destroyed the middle class of St. Kitts and Nevis.
It's gone.
In 2.5 short years.
We have no thriving middle class. I recall when I studied in Jamaica, it was said that there's the upper class and there's the lower class and not much of a middle class. I don't know if the Labour administration went to Jamaica recently in one of their trips and said we're going to introduce this. Because they keep adopting everything that they go and see and think that is a one-size-fits-all approach.
But people real hurting, and they not understand people real hurting out there. When they asked Dr. Douglas about the trade war and those kind of things, he clearly said things are going to get harder, inflation is going to go up. So what happened after 6 months? When this wallet boost expire in 6 months, what happens to our people? Are we saying that something miraculously going to happen, that all those on the wallet boost going to be better off? What is going to happen in 6 months when this wallet boost? Well, not even 6 months, because two gone already. Right? I ain't seen nothing happening in the economy. I ain't seen no big project. I ain't seen nothing happening. As usual, everything is coming. So in the next 4 months' time, what is going to happen to our people? People are hurting out there, and they keep introducing inflationary policies, from bus fee to other things. They keep doing it. So, like I said, we need an economist on the team because something ain't right.
The administration, and so they come and they sit there. And again, I said, Lord have mercy. We have to sit for about 3 hours to hear this word salad of a team that has clearly lost their way and continue to lose it.
You look at, as Flanders talk about Denzel Douglas, right? It's sad. When I look at Denzel Douglas today, it's sad. Denzel Douglas have nothing to offer the country right now. I think he already passed over the top. He already over the top, right? He haven't delivered for the people of constituency number 6. I ask the question, Denzel, what has you done for the people of constituency 6 lately? And the answer will be resounding nothing. What has you done for the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis recently since you gone back into office? And the answer is nothing. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, what has project you brought back to the country? What you brought back to the people? The Minister of Trade, what trade deal you secure for the nation?
Well, he said that he said we're going to go into dairy production. Well, we might be going to dairy production.
Dairy production?
So, you see, this is why it's so confusing about this government. If you, in one bread, pushing sustainability, we all know cattle production is one of the biggest detriments to the climate change and everything, with all the methane they release and stuff like that. So here's the Prime Minister pushing sustainability, sustainable development, sustainable state. Here's Dr. Douglas talking about bringing in a dairy industry, cattle, which require a lot of land, which require a lot of methane being produced. So these people, you see, Dr. Drew always say he don't intervene in nobody's ministry. Everybody do their own thing.
When you're looking at their body language when they were speaking?
You could tell. Everybody in their own little bubble.
Okay.
Because you over there sustainable. You over there cattle coming. You over there happy to that people going back to Basti High. You ain't realize that the Kim Collins Stadium in disrepair. So these people, they don't talk to each other. Because everything is just all over the place.
Kyle, just a while ago, in terms of programs ago, I said on this program that the Labour administration must be afraid when the Prime Minister comes on the programs alone and just utters utter nonsense. I then said that you saw him and his crew when they first got elected, and then subsequently he's there alone. I don't know if the chatter got back to him, but then he came with his crew, and you would have thought that he would present to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis a plan. But because it seems that they don't meet and discuss what they're going to do and what they're going to say and how the ministries are going to go together, you see them come together and it's pure shambles. Only photo ops.
But you look at the body language, they're not meshing.
And the thing is, I'm not even talking just out of the ear. Because when I was working for agriculture, and all the chaos that was happening in agriculture, all the victimization in agriculture to his own people, labor people in the game victimized. And he couldn't step in and do anything because everybody handling the ministry. I hands off. I'm not going to touch anybody ministry. So you see what's happening now. Everybody got their own little agenda, everybody in their own things. So you cannot run a government like that.
But how come you touch Tabasco?
He clearly sees that Samuel continues to drop the ball. So perhaps he's saying, let me give you a little help.
No.
But Dr. Drew still has been dropping the ball in his own ministries.
That is 5 million they say I have to spend for that project.
5.5
5.5.
in this year alone.
They didn't spend so much on 25 by 25.
Mm.
So think about bigger money.
Bigger money.
But the thing is, we don't even want to spend on 25 by 25 because they don't keep the data, they don't show nothing.
So I mean got a little thing in a bigger money too. Bigger money.
This administration likes money. What they did, we had the reckless speeding. A number of persons were speeding, going along, reckless spending too. Because they spend and spend and spend. We don't see anything for the spending. In fact, nothing happens. And so, Troy, when you talk about the $5.5 million, people are concerned. You are putting budgetary allocations, or you're making budgetary allocations, but where the money going? You not see nothing. Look at the museum or the Bradshaw that they started out and they start to do this and start to do that. Load of millions, nothing completed. At the end of their 5 years, I want to really see what are they going to present to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and said, over the last 5 years, maybe 4 years, maybe they may call it next year, maybe they may call it tomorrow.
They won't.
Or whenever they call it.
When they call it, they lose, so they won't drag it out.
They're going to drag it out.
Yes, they cannot call the election because I'm telling you, the people in the constituency number one, right?
Mm.
They decide that they ain't gonna vote for deputy when they could vote to prime minister.
And I could tell you, the people in constituency number 4 are hurting when it comes to the effect. You talk to anybody in number 4, especially business owners, they say this is the worst time ever. Worst time ever under this Labour administration and Samuel Duggins.
You ask the people in number 2, they say, no, the marshal always change as much plain wage now because you know it's coming to an end. It is coming to an end. The People's Action Movement is surging, and the Labour Party realized that they hurriedly put together a press conference who tried to say that they're still in charge. And at the end of the press conference, everybody left with their head in their lap.
In fact, you said that Marsha, the Honorable Marsha Henderson, is always traveling. She wasn't there, you know, Troy.
But I tell you, she enjoyed the play.
He said she went Germany or
Second
somewhere to
one.
get an award.
Yeah.
Because they know that the clock tick, 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 tick is coming down.
Yes.
Every single day is one day less for them.
In fact, you talk to persons, and I was once employed by SCASPA. When you talk to the employees, things are not the same. You understand? That's a ministry under Honorable Marsha Henderson. Just the other day, there was a video going up with one of the trucks in smoke. You understand? And so, while they are busy traversing the world, because they are qualifying themselves to become pilots. You have to be. They're under some. They're flying so often. Somebody in the constituency say, you look like they're trying to get their pilot license.
Well, let's not kid ourselves, right? Because as it relates to tourism, the template was already made. It was already set in place. Because Lindsey Grant was one of the best tourism ministers we have seen in St. Kitts. He had the awards to prove that. So Marshall gaining an award is just simply on the shoulders of what was there before. Because you realize, like I said before, you have never heard them bash tourism in the last 7 years. They never said the last 7 years, never, because they know tourism is booming. They did try to bash the second cruise pier. But now look at it.
Spoiled beer.
Exactly. But look at it now. All these boats coming in and mashing this, mashing that. The same second cruise pier that they were bashing. They're taking it, they want to know that's part of the boom and everything, and it's them. Like, this is madness. And it just happened back to when they were bashing Port Zante. They want hurricane, mash it up, this and that. That's the backbone now.
And then we have the Honorable Congress Maynard coming up and talking about his ministry. Talking about what he said. What he talked about some tap up. For hose, for electricity. And you know, I wonder if these persons are here in the choir, because we were at a public meeting in Sandy Point, and one of the persons said, you guys have to address this top-up story. And of course, we understand to some extent, but are there ears on the ground? Many persons, and we're not advocating for persons not to pay the electricity bill or the like. But in one hand, you hear them talk about sustainable island state and renewable energy, and then saying tap up energy, electricity. And so we are left to wonder again, where is the focus going? Is it on renewable energy, or is it on this tap up industry?
That's a good question. Because you realize, again, that, like, you just give examples after examples of how basically, I want to say, schizophrenic this government is. They don't know where the focus is at. Because you're going to invest so heavily in infrastructure for fossil fuel-based electricity. and then they're going to invest heavily in geothermal. So what is really the direction? One saying sustainable, one saying, so what is really happening? And this type of thing, like, it has been proven that going forward in this kind of system is going to do nothing but hurt the poor people. It is going to hurt poor people. The quality of life that some persons have been accustomed to is going to fall. It's going to drop. Could you imagine you hot in your head about, I got to top up my current, I got to run on the road, however mechanism going to put in place. But them in the office like, okay, you tap up, click, they're gone. That's why the new meters going to help them do, right? Just control and bop, gone. So the focus is just all over the place.
I think the people are saying you should reject that, you know. Honestly. When I study it, as Flanders rightly said, you're putting the ordinary folks at a disadvantage. And for the life of this administration, they keep putting the ordinary folks at a disadvantage. When you're talking about a 46% increase in bus fare, that ain't gonna affect them. It's the ordinary people it's affecting. When you look at the prices in the grocery, it's the smaller person who feel it the most. So when will the smaller man get a breather from them? When will the Labour Party take their knee out the people's throat?
I always say that St. Kitts and Nevis in a dilemma being run by this Labour administration. Clearly they do not know, they do not care, they're incompetent, and sadly, sometimes when I'm doing my house to house, there are persons who say, well, when is the next election? And I said to them, 2027. And I said, oh God, we got to wait 2 more years? Oh, you can't do nothing?
Right.
I said, sadly, the ball isn't in our court to do anything at this point in time. So I know that persons are agitating because Dr. Drew is going to make history. History he making out there as a one-term prime minister.
He ain't helping himself. He ain't doing nothing to the people are bad. I can't breathe. Dr. Joe, take your knee out of my throat. I cannot breathe.
And you would think that as a doctor, he will know better.
But what they do, they keep tightening the screw, tightening it, and the poor, and the ordinary people.
I mean, and it got worse to get because, I mean, let's be clear. I am not against renewables. I'm not against sustainability and those kind of things. But when you are touting about banning plastic and banning this, what's going to happen to the poor people? Because the cost of certain utensils going up, the inconvenience you're going to take when you ban plastic bag. Imagine you're in a grocery store and there's no plastic bag. What are you supposed to do? Understand that a lot of persons use these plastic bags for garbage. So now all of a sudden I have to do what? Put garbage bag on my shopping list now. So there's more money I have to spend to get garbage bag in my kitchen. What happened to the Ministry of Health? Again, they don't work. They don't cooperate. Well, because the garbage man them don't like you just throw your garbage just like that into the bins. So normally people would use the shopping bags, put it in the garbage, and dispose of it. So for those who cannot afford to buy garbage bags every day when they buy a plastic bag, what can happen? Just dump this stuff into the garbage.
But when you ban plastic, what you are replacing plastic with, will it be cheaper than the plastic?
I doubt it.
But if it ain't going to be cheaper, that's another tax to put in on the people.
Exactly.
The ordinary people, that's a tax. As long as you are going to increase anything and people is a tax.
And it doesn't have to be monetary wise, because you would realize that quality of life is very important. The quality of life. And if we take down the quality of life, it's going to impact people negatively. Could you imagine you have a cardboard container with your food and you put it up next to everything soggy? Like, that's not helping anybody. Imagine you want to do an impulse buy. You see somebody with some nice mango on the road and you want to do an impulse buy. But we're going to carry them because they ain't got a bag. Nobody got a bag. So what's going to happen? I'll lose a sale. Like, you have to think about these things. How we're going to ripple through the economy before you make these kind of decisions. It sounds good on the camera, eh? Sustainable state, it sounds good. But when you look at it, how we're going to impact, like I said before, those are rich country problems. Those things that they're doing, they are rich country problems. So I'm glad when Trump said, let's bring back the normal strat, because this cardboard strat thing ain't working out. Even with the larger countries like China and India, they have clearly stated, look here, America, you guys use the Industrial Revolution, you use the Green Revolution to become who you are today, to become rich. So they'll come tell us, cut down on our emissions to a certain degree. don't come tell us that. When we reach that kind of level of development, then you could tell us that. So these things are developed country problems. We are still getting there. We're going to get there eventually. But stop forcing it down our throats. Look for the people. Have a people-centered approach to these things. Was there a survey done that people ask, what do you prefer? Was there a survey done to get the pulse of the country? I don't think so. Because nobody asked me, so I don't think so.
Right? They don't ask anybody anything. They do as they please, as they like, as they wish, and think that we are going to accept it.
Yeah, swallow it. Because you realize right now that they kind of pivoting. Because they realize an issue is we got them beat. We got them beat. So they want to try to sow the seed of discord, chatting all kind of nonsense and that kind of thing about party and party intim. We ain't taking on the foolishness. Right?
No,
we stick to the issues.
As I said, Labour realize that the days are coming to an end. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis need to breathe. And I'm saying to them that hope is on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
You will get a chance to exhale. You'll get a chance to breathe again. Once you do what you're supposed to do and get rid of Joe and his bands of whosoever they be, I don't know, because they ain't look like friends. You look at them, you ain't look like they're getting along with one another.
A band of incompetent comrades.
But you're right, true, because at the beginning, before they came into office, this is where they were singing and dancing and interlocking and thing and
Get rid of them.
Yeah, but no, it's so cold that
They're even afraid to come on the camera sometimes and approach. So they said, Dr. Ju, you direct. you started off
Nobody
first.
will talk out the turn. You make sure you tell them, look here, you talk over that one there. And tell them, someone remember the Tabasco, no? Talk over that too. Hey.
They probably don't get some good cheerleaders before they come, pep them up, because they know they're not going to come and say anything of substance. But they have to have that charisma. They have to got that shiny suit, presenting something that is empty briefcase, empty promises, nothing delivered.
The cheerleaders didn't do a good job last time because only dropped the smile in a way. The rest of them just like, what? Me gotta answer this question, but
Joe always just smile, so say Joe smile, not because you deliver, that's not Joe. Joe smile for everything. That's why you don't really get the full understanding of what's going on, because he feel like everything for him is just a smile.
But the real sad thing is, I think they feel it doing something.
You think so?
I think they believe so, true. Like the real when you hear like someone talking about agriculture, he really feel like things are going on.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
That's it. That is it. That's the hardest part of it, because they actually believe what they are saying.
You could be so disconnect.
Clearly,
I think the people of St. Kitts and Nevis need to listen to the minister that has lost the most marbles so far. And so he was asked a question, and we don't want to we can't do justice to how much he missed the mark in answering this question. So I think they need to hear it for themselves.
During this period of time, and this year we got the rain, but the rain has now been creating some delays with the laying of the Kim Collins track at the stadium. The building is progressing quite well and is nearing completion. The track is just about on the final layer to be laid. However, with the consistent rain over the last few months, January, February, and now in March, we see the rains persisting. It has created a number of delays, and we are now discussing along with the Athletic Association, the Ministry, and we are now discussing along with the Athletic Association, the Ministry of Education, and also my ministry, the Ministry of Sports, as to what will be the forward movement for the sports meets that are still pending, that should have been at the stadium this year. We're still hoping to have them at the stadium this year, but again, we don't control the rain, and we are working along with the team from Regapol and praying to God still for some rain, because we need it for water, but at least for a break that we can at least complete the track stadium and have it ready for our sport meets to come.
But he said he's praying to God. But we are praying to God also that his term comes to an end, so he cannot be saying all of these word salads things that don't make sense. He said he rain in January, rain in February, rain in March.
Monsoon? We got monsoon season, boy.
But Azad,
What country he living in?
That's a defeated. He defeated this song.
Azad,
And then at the end of the day, he still has not given any direction as to whether or not it's going to be there at that point, whether or not the Kim Collins Stadium is going to be used for the upcoming athletic
no,
meet.
he already said.
He said it after.
Boy, not saying anything he already said. But the last group that blame it on the rain, you know, they was strip of the Grammy, you know. Azad.
Blame it on the rain.
Yeah, they was strip of the Grammy. You know why? They were caught cheated and lip singing.
Milli Vanilli?
Yeah, so
Blame it on the rain.
so it seems as if he was listening to the record before he went.
Yes.
to the,
But I mean, everything was excuses for Samuel in the press conference. Tourism numbers up, so imports up. The rain, that's a big, just excuses after excuses. And the thing is, like I said, he sounded so defeated. Like he ready to give up, you know. He ready to give up. So you need to either shuffle or something because you're killing the young man. Too much pressure on the young, because you realize all the questions they were targeting was him. It was like sports, agriculture, small business. And he couldn't.
I think they should just leave him with Carnival. I mean, there are so many stakeholders in Carnival. He don't have to
They're gonna carry the water.
They're gonna carry the water
Yeah,
for him.
they
He
carry
don't
the
have to
water
do
for
much. What try?
Azad.
Him creative. They don't carry the water for him.
Azad.
Yes.
The guy is making much easier for me to win number 4. Then he keep going on until we going on because the people gonna punish him. I ain't gonna give him no advice because I was advising him before and tell him that 25 by 25, dead and arrival, it cannot go on as it. And he say all kind of things and things. So I ain't gonna give him no more advice.
Remember those greenhouses that he said were going to be built and going to be
But
used?
Azad, you want to go there?
Yes, let's go there.
So what is the rain delay the greenhouses?
Well, tomorrow he might say it.
Could be.
I
rain
mean,
again.
you're talking about 18 months later. You have 3 frames down there, not one structure complete. A project that was supposed to take 9 months.
And monies were allocated for that, were they not?
Yes,
So would a delay like that maybe cause...
by the rain again.
Let's be real, right? Dr. Joe, one of your favorite words during the press conference was audit. Everybody getting audited. He needs to audit agriculture. Because if you do an audit on agriculture, you'll realize that most of the persons, the professionals, they're gone. There's nobody there to do the work. If you look at it, they had an agronomist there, she gone. The other agronomist they had there, she's now the director, so nobody there to execute. The permanent secretary did no kind of undergo nothing. He in the chair, so nobody there to execute. There's no one there to execute the work in agriculture. So what do you think gonna happen? And he was warned from the get-go. Farmers warned him, this is not the way to go. That's not the PSP, that's not the ministry, that's not the way to go. He ignored everybody. So now he reaping the reward, he rewards everything.
But Kyle, you said that the Prime Minister likes the word audit. He audits this, audits that, audits this. When is he going to audit his performance, audit his administration, and audit his ministers? Because clearly they need audited.
Well, the people can be the accountants in the next election, and we sure gonna audit them. Because, nah, boy, they're not performing how they're supposed to. And it's so obvious. We can't, it's just like, they're just helping us. Because when you're making up nothing, we ain't even got to politics with just reality. That nothing will happen. Right to our faces. We ain't got to go right there.
Sometimes one has to wonder what is next with this administration. And the more they come on and the more they speak to the people, the more we have to say, because it's always nothing presented.
I mean, how low they could go?
How low they could go?
How much more pain and suffering the people will endure? You know, I was on a bus, right? I passed through Newton Ground, and it was 15 minutes past 6 o'clock, and there was the guy from the water department doing what they do best, turning off the water. 15 minutes past 6.
So people got to walk him in. Yeah.
I'm telling you, 15 minutes past 6 in Newton Ground, I see the water turning off. And I say, wow, you mean Newton Ground who used to get water down that bus pipe? St. Paul, water go, water. They had too much water down there, so laugh and at us in Saddlers and passing on. Passing on got problem, Saddlers got problem, Deep Bay got problem, Newton got problem, St. Paul got problem, Sunny Point got problem.
Forget bigger problems.
So we ain't got no problem. I mean, it's serious thing with this water thing, you know. But somebody say we had rain for a whole year. So why water keep going? Because it's the rain delay everything.
Clearly, someone has lost it. We've already made that determination. He's not even fit to lead the ministries that he has been given.
I mean, try make a good point. Because all the rain, there's no capturing water, there's no harvesting of water. What's really going on? They're depending heavily on this desalination plant. But I mean, the reality is a lot of persons rejected desal water because people got questions about that kind of water. But let's see how that goes.
You look at Canvas Maynard and his performance. I mean, I ain't gonna blame Canvas for that. I blame the people because Canvas make it abundantly clear. He haven't finished anything he started.
He couldn't even finish his song.
Right. He make it clear to the people.
Oh no, they're asking, Congress boy, finish the song. You taking too long. You taking too long to fix the problems, Congress.
He not finish nothing. We gonna finish it for him.
And then he talking about trophies.
These are vital utilities.
Well, we haven't seen any trophies in his ministries that he has led.
So how come he got more money then? Like you just get money for yourself and not doing work? That's how we go?
Increase in salary. That's all they
Just
care
so?
about. All this administration cares about is an increase.
Me water
In
was,
this.
me current
Oh,
was.
wait. Let me add it them.
Mm-hmm.
We start with you.
With Joe?
F, right?
Okay.
Which minister you give a passing grade? We added them now.
Not many things real. Not really happened for you, yeah.
You can think so hard as that.
I mean, if
No, I'm trying to think because, I mean, Masha is escaping along based on the performance of Lindsey Grant in the past.
at least she ain't dropped the ball, so we could. Okay,
So
she ain't dropped the ball.
she's just hovering along, you know
But
what I mean?
she's missing in her constituency.
So you gotta read it there, okay? In the
The
constituency.
people in the constituency say bye-bye. Masha,
They
see
don't
you.
see her, so
Right,
she
they
just
say
say bye-bye.
Because they know they don't come back and I come back. She missing in the constituency.
But as a collective, though, we didn't have to go individual. As a collective, if we to audit the performance thus far as a collective, it's an F.
But
Yes.
Flanders, if you go individual, they gonna hurt your belly, you hurt your heart, you hurt your oil, you hurt everything.
Yeah, it's definitely. When you look all
Canvas
these failures.
fail. Jeffrey fail. And look at it, you know. Canvas and Joe and Jeffrey, they were supposed to be the leaders of Labour. You trade them for leadership. So if you're looking at the future of Labour, it's 3 failures.
Oh boy.
So who gonna take over?
It's 3 failures. Canvas ministry failing. Jeffrey, what Jeffrey have to show for his term in office? What can Jeffrey present to the nation to say that this is what I do?
I could tell you one.
In fact, a young lady from Molyneux has said to me that for a long time they're talking about the reconstruction of the Molyneux primary school.
Oh wow.
That has not been done. You understand? It seems like the only thing that had been passed successfully under Jeffrey's leadership, and there's still some talk about it, is the HEAR policy.
I could say that's the one I was gonna get at because that is the only claim to fame Jeffrey got for education. And trust me, on the ground, that doing more harm than good. Teachers basically say, "Watch here, me done." Police in this children, we are done. We're not gonna hurt our head because we trained for years to show children that appearance is very important. Your first impression is very important. The soft skills. People always talk about, well, uniform don't make you learn, but the soft skills, the hidden curriculum is very important to children. And then, you see, like I said, these people don't think. The barbershop industry licks. Because all of a sudden we realize them man saying, when man coming in for a $30 haircut, they only coming in for a square, $5. So when you could have bank on back to school being your Christmas as a barber, nothing doing now. Back to school, they want to know where the people are at. You got some faithful parents who love to see the young men nice and groom and everything, so they'll bring them. But for the most part, the barbershop industry is catching a lot of licks because of Jeffrey and his big bad hair policy. That's the best you could do, Jeffrey. And here's the contradiction, though. For somebody who always want to make themselves look a certain way, Dr. Hanley, you're going to just pass a policy and got young men looking a certain way out there in public? Like, what are you really saying? You want to be the only one to look a certain way? Neat and everything, but the young men out there supposed to do carry themselves however they want. People fail to realize that in society there are multiple pillars in society. If one fails, the other one must pick up the slack. So if the home fails in terms of here and everything like that, that's where the government comes in and pull up the slack. That's where laws are put in place to pull up the slack. There are different pillars in society. So you can't rely on just one. So people say, let the parents, parents ain't gonna get it right all the time. And that is where the church and the school and everything comes into play to
And
help.
the clubs and so.
Everything. So your biggest claim to fame is that here policy, like you thought it was such a big thing. Even boys want to put in extensions now in school. Boys, you have to pull it back and say, no, young men, that is not how it goes. How it goes. They are saying people with alopecia and those kind of things, but do not pass a policy that impact 100% of the people for only 1 or 2% of persons. That could have been a case-by-case basis. Because back in the day, sometimes children want to wear long pants in a short pants school because their foot look a certain way. They say, okay, you can wear because you get teased, that kind of stuff. So case-by-case basis. This broad, sweeping policy impacting so many sectors of the country. So that's the claim to fame. So that's about it.
That's all?
That's all I can remember.
So you see what I'm telling you?
Everything else,
Housing F.
I tell
big
you
F
so.
for housing.
So with constituency 1, constituency 2, constituency 3, canvas. They 1, 2, and 3, they don't fail. They go down to 4.
Oh, Lord.
Ah, well, he's the worst of them all. What can you say about him? What has he done correctly?
You say he's last. It's slow.
The slowest of them all.
We've said what we have said because I can't.
So I got 4 out of 6, right? Denzel in number 6. Point to one thing Denzel has done for this country since he get back in there. Point me to one thing. You see people give him a boy because of his age. So people say the elder statesman. But the elder statesman is in it for himself. The time today when he sit here and sitting for me are you, not the next generation, he sit for himself. So that is the thing. That's why I tell you, if you go to them one by one, it hurt your heart, your belly, all over your body. It's a failing government. So let he audit them one by one. You go to number 8, king failure. And also become king liar.
In no time, persons echoing the phrase July.
No, I born in July, you know.
You born in July?
The 4th of July.
Oh gosh. But you ain't here with chocolate, sir. Try, sorry for you. You know you better celebrate in June or August because this year there will be no July.
The thing is, he actually earned the money. He actually earned it, you know. Because the man just says something like, are you really seeing what's going on?
I still can't believe Troy born in July. Troy, I can't believe you, boy.
America born in July. So we're going with America right now. Trump.
July all over the place.
So you see, collectively, Flanders, as you say, maybe might ease your pain. But the reality is not one of these ministers has delivered for the people. Not one of them.
All they have done is deliver for themselves.
I don't say want to talk about the 2 senators who nobody voted for.
What did they do again? What did they do?
I don't know.
Because I know one taking from people with pop just taking social programs.
Was that the same one who said since getting this job they were able to pay off?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
That one yourself. Yeah,
This is what I'm telling you now. So you want to add it that one too?
1,005 promised and 250 delivered.
That's what I tell you.
Can't get any better than that, boy.
Oh Lord.
So yeah.
The country really in a dilemma as it's being run by Labour.
I want people to really understand this, you know. That the last time this country was progressive was under solely when it was PAM. It was a PAM influenced government when we were so progressive. Even under the unity construct, within that, a lot of progression within that coalition, PAM. So understand that PAM hasn't been given a chance to run the country by themselves since Dr. Simmons left office. So
Our 30 years.
Exactly. And a lot of what they did then, we're still building on. We're still holding on to, because you cannot show anything that Denzel Douglas have done that has improved us so drastically, dramatically, that we could say, yeah. Like I said, the housing legacy people boast about with Douglas. Today you can't get a house because of that. Grandchildren and children of those persons cannot get a house because of what left NHC in ruins. And so you can't get a house. That's the legacy. You have to plan things properly. You can't just jump out and do things just like that. You look at Pam for number 6. You know how much Pam did for number 6? The whole, for the farmers in number 6, the whole mountain, everything. For all the basketball courts, the playgrounds, everything. Like Pam has done so much for number 6.
But since those roads was constructed, they haven't been any repairs on those roads, you know.
Man, there was a good solid collection too, right? But yeah, that's true.
And those roads were built in the 80s. And if you drive up them road there today, and yesterday I see somebody was taking tours up them same road.
That's what you call foresight. That's what you call foresight in the government. As much as 6 rail against Pam, Pam has done so much in number 6, but they have been led to believe that Pam ain't do nothing. I remember the phrase that we were talking about when they put the roads up in the mountain. What they tell them? About the donkey and the
yeah, they put road to mash up donkey foot.
When Dr. Simmons saw that people can own pickup trucks and drive them as farmers, they said, no, donkey. The road can mash up by a donkey foot.
Labour say, you see a thing I don't like, are you? They pay me to mash up by a donkey foot.
That's the mindset. Labour's mindset to keep people poor, keep people down.
Yeah.
Pam mindset is to uplift.
Uplift.
Bring us up to the next level. That's what people don't understand.
And as this Labour administration comes back into office, you realize the economy gone cold. Just like the dew that falls, gone cold.
But the IMF said that in a few years we're going to be in national debt going to raise again.
You're already raising, you're already going up.
Yeah, you're in an upward trajectory. Because the spending. But as I had said, we're not seeing why.
We're not seeing
you're
why.
borrowing money from all about, and you're not seeing the fruits of what they're doing. Everything is coming. So, you know, we just...
I said the other day, I was looking at this documentary that said that sometimes before you do something, don't say what you're doing. Because when you say what you're doing, the dopamine in your mind, right? It makes you believe that it has already been done.
Wow.
And so Dr. Drew's dopamine must be on blast. Because all he talks and talks and talks, nothing is being done. But when he leaves that room, his mind is telling him, I did a good job. The hospital done bill. We already had 2,400 homes. We have 1,500 given to PAP. So in his mind, he thinks that all of this has been done. And so when you look at him, they said the emperor is without clothes because he cannot see what we are seeing time and time again.
That makes a lot of sense, really. A lot of persons who are so motivational speakers, they sell dreams.
Yeah.
So people are like, yeah, man, I could do that. They get hype up and so, but no action.
No action.
I realize when you talk about hospital, you realize when they clean off a piece of land, right? And then they know water is there. So they go and now they clear some more land, they push back in land more. Next thing they find out they're on somebody's land. And then they're pushed back again. You know? So it just to show you that it was just, as I say,
they don't plan anything.
Yeah.
Labour has clearly lost it. They continue for the new things to lose that too, whatever comes up. And I mean, just today I must say, among the females of the party, the next Prime Minister, you know, who's female, Natasha Shanigre Brooks, she held a beautiful luncheon speaking about She Inspire, an award ceremony for persons, young ladies who contribute to their country. Try if you see the young ladies at the church, beautifully adorned. You saw the young ladies at the luncheon, well dressed. I say, Lord, the hands of the nation, the future of the nation in good hands under Pam. Under Pam and under the leadership of Natasha.
you know, a young lady tell me that she get a good massage.
Yes.
And one said they get the nails nicely done.
Yes.
And I said, well, you say, yeah, Pam did that for us today. And one said they get makeup nicely done. And I mean, I get goosebumps when I hear that.
That is exactly what the party is about. Upliftment. bringing up people. That's exactly what the party, not keeping nobody down with all kind of weird policies and taking away from people. It's about giving, filling you up, energy, everything, just filling up people.
It's not about the word salads that they give at every press conference. And you know, the People's Action Movement, we will continue to hold this government accountable. We are not afraid of the incompetent comrades. We are here to serve the people, the interests of the people. And so when the next election is called, the people will return from whence the People's Action Movement had been in power. The People's Action Movement, a party that continues to put the people of St. Kitts and Nevis first. And so as we wind down and conclude this program, and you know, you might have some few words that you want to say. And I will allow you to say it at this time. Troy and Kyle, if there's anything that you want to say.
I just say, what this nation needs is a progressive administration, and you'll find that in the People's Action Movement, a party that believe in people.
Yes.
Just to echo what Troy said, the party was founded on that whole idea. That's one of the reasons I support PAM, right? Because when I was younger, people might say your mother or whoever influenced it, but no. When you look at the two parties and their founding philosophies, PAM is all about upliftment, it's all about empowerment, women's empowerment, men's, everybody's empowerment. That's what PAM is all about. When you look around the country, you see some of the most successful business because persons got the mindset. Those PAM got the mindset of just going after it. Whereas the Labour Party is about keeping persons down. And so next election, we're going to break the glass ceiling for sure. Right? It would be so poetic if it's on International World Women's Day, right? It would be so poetic, right? But
yes,
we're going to break the glass ceiling because Shani is ready for this. Shani is the next, is going to be the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts, and we are going to follow. She's going to follow in the mold of so many women who have set the trail. Those trendsetters came before. She's going to stand on their shoulders and stand tall on their shoulders. So just sum up, that's just my belief. That's how I see it. And so next election, we'll see.
Yes. And so I want to thank all those persons who listened this evening, those who continue to listen and continue to reach out. I want to thank the callers. And I want to say, do have a pleasant evening, a safe evening. And God's willing, we'll see you next week on another episode of Unfiltered.
The views and opinions expressed in this program were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who in WINNFM's considered opinion is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
Lord, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and my mixery. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's